crazy times, the world just needs a hero to help cut through all the noise.
Well, now you have two.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have good news. I have awesome news. You are listening to the Heroes of Noise yet again, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm only one half of this awesome dynamic duo. On the other side is whom?
Hi there, my name is Dan Ramirez. Pleased to meet y'all. How you doing today?
That was a very calm.
What, did I not bring it enough? Was it was the ratio off, man?
I mean, like, I expected. Oh, you know what, though? You just woke up, kind of.
All right, hold on. Are you ready? What's up, motherfuckers? Are you ready for the next episode of the Heroes of Noise? Episode 61 in your face!
That's what I'm talking about, baby. I love that. That's the sort of Danathan the Manathan we're looking for.
Was that better?
Yes.
Good,
I love it. Is that how you do it on the other podcasts? Are you like, yeah, gang, 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 gang?
What do you mean, when I go on other people's shows?
Yes.
No, man.
You were a guest on 2 podcasts this week, and dude, look, if you bring that, do you bring your soundboard with you?
No.
Come on.
I did once and it didn't go so well, so I don't do it anymore.
Oh,
well,
please,
to be
Dan,
no, I
the
didn't.
story.
I used a little bit of this on ADO Radio. I was on ADO Radio last week, guys, and check it out. It's a great show. I had a really good time.
ADO, as in A
as in
D,
attention,
not ADO
deficit,
Radio.
It's attention deficit order, but they say ADO Radio on it. So
That does really rhyme.
right. Well, that's what. Now you know why they say it. And then I was on The Real Zodiac with Sean and Quentin last week too, but that's not out yet. So spoilers.
Ooh, that is a spoiler, but still, Sean, and Queasy.
Sheezy and Queasy.
Sheezy and Queasy, Sean Veezy. I think here's the thing. I think you bring a different energy when you go on shows, bro.
Greater or less?
Different. It's not less or greater. I'm just saying you are different on other shows.
Like, I don't think I bring enough. I'm being honest. I know this isn't selling. Like, hey, I'm on the show and I don't bring enough energy. I don't mean it like that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to find that happy medium of where I'm not talking too much.
Mm-hmm.
And giving, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to take over a show. And I wouldn't do so on certain shows. It's just sometimes I feel that way. So if I'm a little more quiet, that's exactly what's going on. Because I would never go on a show in a bad mood. I'll be honest with you. I'll fake sick.
Really?
Yeah, I would. If I was in a really bad mood, no, probably not. I'm not that way. You know I'm a man of my word.
Yes, you will show up just to say, hey, I made a promise and I'm going to fulfill this promise.
Yes. But that doesn't always equate to a great show. Now, that I'm not even talking about these last 2 shows or anything. I'm just saying, since you've asked if I bring a different energy, I think I do. I'm working on that. I want to be on more podcasts because I need to keep the same level of energy up. But it ain't like, you know, and with all due respect to every podcast out there that has had me on or will have me on, it's not like talking to my boy.
I appreciate, and you know, here's the sad part. I know that I won't be invited to too many podcasts. I think like Sean Veezy, my boy Queasy.
You say that, but I don't believe it.
My folks over at the Blurs Are Us. They're probably the ones that are gonna they're gonna be the 2 that are like, we can deal with Steve in short bursts. The Blurs and Zodiac are probably the ones. For here, it's perfect. For Blurs, perfect. Zodiac, perfect. I don't know if I'd fit on many podcasts, though.
We have a weird balance because it's like an energy thing. I'd say you're like 60, I'm 40. Yes. But then in other areas, it reverses. So it all kind of works out, I think.
Well,
we have a good mix.
Here's your gift. Your gift is intricacies. Like, if I did a preacher rundown, it would take 20 minutes. When Dan does a preacher rundown, it takes the whole hour and a half because
we've gone 3 hours before.
I'll be like, yes, I remember that, because you're so good at like being able to be like, hey, did you know that this song was from this thing? I'm like, that's why Dan is so good at what he does. Like, I wouldn't even have thought to look it up the song. I literally wouldn't have thought about it. And you think about, oh, where's that song from? And there's very few things that it's just like I'm diving all the way in. Dan dives all the way in. For me, it's just, I think I just come with the Tasmanian devil and leave. And they're like, I think something happened on this podcast. Don't know what it was, but something did. And you leave having taught someone something, I think.
Not always. Most of the time, not.
Damn.
I'm serious, man. I mean, thank you for the kind words. And I'm not knocking myself. I'm just saying, I don't think my job is done. Just slap the hands
you
together
do,
and
though.
walk off. You're welcome, gentlemen and ladies.
I remember you, dude. I remember when you first got invited on to Pop Culture Leftovers.
Yeah.
Dude, you were so nervous that week.
Why you gotta out me, dude?
It was so funny.
Why you gotta bring up
I mean, it was like, because that was the show you listened to. That was the show you listened to. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And you were just super duper. And then you got on and killed it. I think I'm at a point where if you got invited on the biggest podcast in the world, I wouldn't be nervous for you because I'm just like, you're going to kill. You're fine. You're fine.
You know what my problem is? This is the kind of stuff that most podcasters say off of the air, but I'm nervous every time. I don't give a shit whose show it is. I'm nervous. Even ours, I get nervous before that mic goes on. You know this. And
I did not know that.
Stop it. And
I
then
didn't know you got nervous on our show.
Yeah, I do. I threw up this morning.
Oh, well, that's cool. I have that effect though.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. No, it's that. And then if I listen to it, because when I listen to myself on another podcast, it's not like, oh, listen to me. It's more like I can't listen to it from a subjective point of view. Like if I'm just a third party listening, I have to listen to it. Like, how did I do? Did I fuck up? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
That makes sense.
So I'm constantly criticizing myself, man. But I feel obviously for obvious reasons, I feel the most comfortable on this show, but I'm working on it. I want to be a better guest.
Like I said, I think the reason I don't need to be a better guest is because the places that invite me know exactly who I am.
Or it could just be that you're Steve. You have a high energy level, dude, and that's good.
Yes, that's what it's going to be. Yeah, totally.
I wish I had your energy. Would it be too much if I had your energy? If we had, it would be, dude. You know, like in science fiction shows when the good guy and the bad guy are shooting at each other, and then like the streams hit. And
yes, that's what would happen. It would be that sort of thing.
A big explosion.
And it is funny because it's a like for me, I just know that if I listen to a podcast and I know I don't fit on that podcast, I would say no. I would just say no. I would rather just do the podcast that I like, chilling with the people and talking to the folks. I would just rather do that than because of the podcast that would if a podcast asked me, hey, come on the show, and I listen to the show and I wouldn't fit, I would just say no. Now I would, considering how good we are at Heroes of Noise. I feel confident in just saying no.
Wow.
I know that I would fit on, like I said, again, Zodiac, Birds or Us, whoever.
Steve, can you I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but can you bring your mouth up to the microphone? Because I think the fact that you're blowing yourself it's causing some muffling. I'm just kidding. Oh, I'm just playing, brother.
Gee, that was so well done.
I'm sorry.
That needs to be clipped out. That needs to be clipped out. Like, I thought you were literally like, oh yeah, your mic. I was like, oh, and I started messing with the mic, and then you're just like, yeah. Gee, that is so okay. That's right up there with Knock Knock. Now those two are next to each other.
I know, but I was only kidding, G. I know what you meant by it. I just
totally. But that's with the Knock Knock. Now that's Knock Knock, and the Knock Knock is still the best thing that's ever happened on this show.
Thanks, man.
That is the best joke I've heard in the last 2 years, maybe. Because it was so shot. I thought you actually had a clever thing. Yeah, it's not clever about this joke.
Heroes of Dumb.
Oh, that was so funny. Okay, but since we have a lot to talk about,
yes, we do,
would you
guys.
like to get into this wonderful thing we call contact information?
Absolutely, Stephen. Hey, everybody, how you doing today? My name is Dan Ramirez. That's Steve Hudson over there with the Here's a Noise.
Whoa.
We're here to rock your brains, make sex to your face and stuff like that. Here we go. You want to get a hold of Heroes of Noise, Steve? I'm doing my best work today, man. I'm hoping you understand that. Heroes of Noise podcast at gmail.com, ladies and gentlemen. That's where you find us. At Heroes of Noise. Now we're talking Twitter. Hit us up there at Heroes of Noise. You can reach me, Dan, at DanQPublic. You got my boy Steven over there. Steven Eugene Hudson at SE_Hudson Music. And then everything else, just go to www.heroesofnoise.com, ladies and gentlemen. It's there. You're going to have a good time. It'll be a hoot, I promise. We have a lot to talk about today, so I'm going to go ahead and just chill. I'm going to bring down the volume a little bit and just tell you, y'all ain't ready for what we got today. My pants are hot. My nipples are hard. Here we go. Steve, take it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the funny thing about this week is I made a promise to people that I really dig. And I'm looking at you, Rebecca. Something is going down next year, Dan. It's happening. It's happening.
Is it?
You know, listen. I am telling you on the podcast.
Is this a major announcement you're about to do?
Yes.
You sure? Because it's a bold statement. There's a lot of work involved.
Wait, Dan.
How about you just go with...
Nope. I'm going all the way.
Are you? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the caveat in and and say what we're about to say is just, it's going to be me doing my best. That's all I'm getting at. But before we give the announcement, let's build it up a little bit, all right?
All right. Let's do it. The Heroes of Noise are going to be at C2E2 next year in Chicago.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. We accept free airfare, hotel, accommodations.
Yeah. Look, dude. Dude, there's no reason. My son's going to be in college. I'm not going to be doing anything.
You have zero excuse.
I have zero excuse. I could just go.
You could go right now.
Yeah, to the convention center and be like, this is where it was.
Get in line, man. The lines are long, I hear.
For real?
Oh, dude, yeah. Well, yeah, we need... that's right. You've never been to a con.
I've never been to a con.
Oh, my God.
I want to go to Wakanda. Never been to a con.
You know, I really wish I could have taken you to WonderCon this year. And then you can at least sort of pop your cherry, if you will.
Well, is that a good starter point?
Yes. Absolutely.
Really? And who did you see there again? Like a star?
Oh, who didn't I see there, baby? I saw, no. Let's see.
Oh, I was about to say, whoa.
like, what do you mean? Like, as far as
like,
who was featured or what?
No,
what kind
like,
of
did you
things
run into people?
Yeah, I ran
like,
into.
Oh, I know you.
I didn't get to talk to him because I think I've told these stories already, but I didn't get to talk to Jay Baruchel because he had a handler who wouldn't let me onto the same elevator as him.
No, you did not tell the Jay Baruchel. You did not say that you got pushed off the elevator.
I didn't get pushed off the elevator. I got halted at the elevator.
Okay. Now is Jay Baruchel halted off elevator famous?
No. And I was about to say, I think it was more of an anxiety thing.
Really?
Yeah. People have anxiety in crowds. I don't know his life. You know, some people get anxious and they don't like people coming up to them and stuff like that. And to be quite honest, the dude was like looking down. Like, you know what he looks like, right?
Yes.
So picture him literally standing in the corner of an elevator. Left hand, I believe it was the left hand too, scratching the back of his head and like looking down. Like that kind of an anxious type of a thing.
And the handler pushed you off?
Biggest black dude I've ever seen, man.
Oh.
I walked up and I went, and I like ran into this wall of pants. And I looked up and he was like, "You got to get the next elevator, son."
Are you kidding me?
And I'm like, okay. I just backed up 3 steps.
You got to get the next elevator?
Son. And it wasn't like son, like junior. It was like, you know, like, what's up, son?
No, bro. No. Nuh-uh. No.
What would you say?
No.
This is a free country. I have as much right to be in this elevator as the next guy.
Well, it depends. It's weird because since he was a brother, I'd be like, bruh, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you wouldn't talk that way. I don't know why.
Here's the thing. He's not. Are you going to beat me up at WonderCon, G? That's what you're not.
Goddamn right, I'm going to beat you up at WonderCon. He was huge, like, Steve. He was tall. That's why I'm going for it.
I know, but I have to think that he's not going to beat me up at WonderCon. It's a bad look.
Nah, he wouldn't beat you up at WonderCon.
Exactly.
He would just like not let you on, go up, and then you'd be like, what? Did you guys see that? That's what would happen.
Or he might just be like, gee, like I get on and I'm the douche. He's just like, gee, he wanted to be what was that all about? I'd be like, I don't know. I just wanted to make a point. He'd be like, I was asking you not to get on. I don't understand. Like, I could end up looking bad at the end of that and walking off the elevator like, wow, that was kind of a douche move on my part. If you make a big enough scene. Or they get off and they'll be like, you know what? Fine. Get on your elevator alone. We're going to take the next one then.
I deserve to be on this elevator.
People will be like, this is WonderCon. And here's the thing. I didn't know he was bodyguard famous. Or maybe it was a WonderCon bodyguard. And he was actually being like, I need one of your guys to escort me up to the, I'm feeling weird.
I'm pretty sure the celebrities have handlers. I've seen that happen more than once. I saw it with Kevin Smith. I saw it with, do you know who Sarah Underwood is?
I know the name.
She's a model. She used to be on Attack of the Show. She's always showing her stuff on the twits. On the twits. She twits a lot of her tits. And then who else?
Why is she at WonderCon?
Baruchel. Actually, it wasn't at WonderCon. It was at, what was it called? I want to say it was WizardCon in Sacramento. It's whatever the con is that Wizard does.
Why was she there?
She was on G4. It was a while ago.
Oh, G4. That makes
Attack of the Show, to be more specific.
Okay, now I'm with you.
Yeah.
And so Kevin Smith has a handler?
I don't know if they're officially handlers, but he had people walking with him. Shatner had one. Pretty much anyone that's going back and forth to do autographs, they all have them. It just makes sense. It keeps, you know what it is? I don't think it's even so much of a bodyguard thing. It is, but it's like, I'm just trying to clear a path to let this guy walk through. Because think about it. If you're super famous and you're walking through a huge crowd, you're going to get stopped every few seconds. And
the thing is, I think like Kevin Smith is a different famous at cons. He's a different famous there. Like, because he almost, like, he's built for that thing.
Right. He's your buddy.
Yes. He's a different level of famous.
And that emphasizes my point. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just can't.
That's real.
You can't do it.
Whereas, like, I would say the people that are normally famous outside a con probably could walk through a con easier than Kevin Smith. Because Kevin Smith is con famous. Very strange, too.
How do you think we would do just walking around in the con?
At first, it would be weird because people would look, is that them?
Could it be?
Yeah.
Is it possibly them? There's no way. Am I dreaming?
Until I was just like, when someone's like, Steve, is that you? And I'm like, hey, good morning, good evening. It's over.
Oh my God, you actually have a catchphrase, man.
I don't have a catchphrase.
Sure you do. Start the show off any other way.
That is not true.
If you started the next show and you were just like, hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Steve.
I'm going to try it.
We would get an email. Where's the good morning, good evening, and good afternoon? It doesn't even go in order. That's why it's awesome that you do it that way.
I think I could be like, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? And just get into the show.
Let's try it. Let's try it again.
Okay, here we go. Now you have to. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to yet another awesome episode. That's good.
Yeah, it's got a nice feel to it.
You like that?
No, I like the other one better.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, wait.
You can change it. No, change it up. No, I'm just saying that's not your best
because I've never heard you start. Ready? Here we go. Go ahead.
You want me to start the show?
Yeah, I've never heard you start the show. We should have a Dan start the show day.
But I haven't got any kind of catchphrase or anything ready.
You don't need a catchphrase. You just start the show.
Whenever I do a show, it's always the end of, our ending song, our outro.
Uh-huh.
And then I just go into, hey, what's going on? This is Dan kind of thing.
So how would you start the show if the music was going?
I don't know. You got me on the spot. You got me on the spot, G. I don't know.
I think you would just be like, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I think you would just do a normal what's going on.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it?
Something like that. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Oh, please do. Please do. Now.
No, I don't even want to start that because you know what? Don't fix it if it ain't broken.
Look, I do want to see what you would. I honestly want to see what you would say because now I'm curious, and I'm sure the listeners are curious too.
I'm sure they're just dying to know.
I am very dying to know because I think you would bring a really cool energy in the beginning. Like if we play a little Sade, you'd be able to just start the show like no problem.
Hey, you're listening to Heroes of Noise?
Yeah.
The lovely stylings of Sade.
Gee, that's the voice people are listening for. That'll get us a flight to C2E2.
Hey, good morning and welcome to you. This is Dan Ramirez. I got a funny thing. I woke up this morning with a hard nipple, only on the left side. I don't know what that means. Let's figure it out today on Heroes of Noise. Let's do it, baby.
That would be a great show, dog. That would be a freaking great show. But Dan, let me tell you something you did for me.
What'd I do?
You put in my mind to start branching out. And a few things happen for me. One,
You're a swinger now.
close. One, I discovered a drink that is very underrated.
Okay.
Rum and Coke. So
Oh,
thank you. I
yeah.
wouldn't have gone to that. I wouldn't have gone to that get together had I not listened to Dan. I was gonna automatically say, I don't know, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go.
I just want to say this really quickly because I know you're about to tell the story, but I want to say you have tried to tell me this story twice now. And for some reason, just like I did right now, I keep cutting you off. But this time I'm going to let you finish because I want to know because you've been raving about the rum and Coke now for a couple days.
Oh, this was gonna go somewhere else. There's not really a story there. I just like rum and Coke. I think more people need to drink them.
There it is. It's a Steve Hudson moment.
Yes, I think that more people they don't talk about it enough.
What kind of rum you drinking?
Spiced.
I know, but I mean, like, what is it, Captain
Oh
Morgan?
wait, is there other sort of? Oh wait a minute. Now that brings up. Is there Is there rum and spiced rum?
I think there's different types of rums. I'm not a big rum guy. I don't drink liquor
What?
regularly. Like, it's a very special occasion or total peer pressure if I'm drinking liquor. I'm a beer guy.
Only IPAs.
No.
See, I gotta find ginger beer that's alcoholic.
You know what? I think I found one. I forgot
Did
to tell
you?
you. Yeah, I think so. I'll find out for you, and then I'm going to just buy it for you.
Gee, you think it might be like Bevmo? Because I heard their wine and spirits is better.
Yeah, if you go to Bevmo, or there's another place like in the same parking lot, I believe, or like right down the way. Sorry, guys, we're getting
Called
local
Wine and
again.
Spirits, right?
Yeah. Okay, Wine and Spirits. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Now I heard that place is better than Bevmo.
It's fancier.
Ooh, I like fancy, G.
Bevmo has like your standard aisles. If that makes any
Yes.
sense, they're just aisles.
I
Like
like
a grocery
that.
store. But when you walk into Wine and Spirits, it's like, welcome to Wine and Spirits.
Does the guy have a wizard hat on?
Why has he got to have a wizard hat on, man?
I don't know, G. That's what I imagine when I think of wine and spirit. Who calls it a spirit?
You're an alcoholic, Harry.
I don't call. Have you ever said, "Hey, I'd like one of your spirits"?
Hi there. Which side are the spirits on? That's the
Oh,
wine.
dear.
I was at the wine and I went over there and I saw the beer, but where are the spirits?
Preferably holy.
Preferably holy. Go back to the wine.
We do need to go on a wine tasting one day, though. You and I and Gail.
I'll go with you, but I think it's such a pretentious bullshit thing to do.
But ever since Sideways, I have to go.
I don't give a shit if it's a wine tasting or like they
Beer.
have like now they have like cannabis events and things like that, or they have anything like that.
Yes.
It's fine. Go have fun. Even a beer. They have beer fests all the time. But there's always those guys. Mostly guys. Sometimes it's women. They're just too into it. Let's see, let me explain this to you here. So this is
Yes, please.
This is a 1993 Zinfandel that the actual vine was brought from the Italian vineyards of Napoli. I don't know. You know what I'm saying, right? And then
Yes.
So what I want you to do now, and you're like, yeah, you're like, look. You're like, no, you're doing it all wrong. So go ahead, Lance, because there's always a Lance. Lance, pour him
There is
another
a
little
Lance.
bit there. He just poured a little in there, and you go, okay. Now, Steve, slow it down, please. Now, just go ahead and take it in your mouth.
Oh my God.
And they're like, oh yeah, now do you taste the tannins? Those
Yes.
tannins, those will all. Now, this is why we need to aerate the wine. So go ahead and put it in this decanter here and let it. Lance, go ahead and just let it sit for a half an hour. We just wanted to show him. We'll come back to that in a half an hour, Stafouche. But before now, what do you taste in the wine?
I taste a little bit of.
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
sunflower?
You're not having a savory sandwich. You're trying to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ready?
Yeah, come on. Yeah, there you go.
Little sunflower.
Sunflower.
Wait, no, what I mean, you never. Hey, look. What if sunflower had leaned against the wine branch
Easy, Post Malone.
and it influenced the actual growing of said wine?
Okay,
vine?
we'll go with it. What else do you
Thank
taste? I taste. Go ahead. You go first.
What do you taste? No, please.
Let me see. Let me do it again. Definitely an Italian leather sofa. And
Tell for sure.
yeah. And hold on.
Is that bare feet?
There it is.
There it is.
But see, I'm never good at that because they start doing like, taste it. And I'm Dan. So I'm going to be like, hey, Gail, watch this.
Oh no. Oh, jeez Louise.
I did a bong hit, Gil. And then I get kicked out.
Dan. You would embarrass me out of the wine tasting.
You know, and they're doing this whole sippy thing, and before they go, well, have a sip. I'm like, it's already gone. What are you talking about?
Gee, but okay, but it must be some
I have
sort
these
of
red
real.
eyes. I've been doing that the whole time.
Some sort of real.
No, there's definitely science to it.
So we should try to learn the science.
Okay, as long as we don't become douche canoes.
No, and also we can also go to I have the I didn't tell you. I talk too much, obviously. So I meet someone at Starbucks, and every time I go there, we talk. And it turns out her significant other is an ambassador to Jack Daniel's whiskey. So he goes to the actual plant, and like they'll dip in that big, the thing to let him taste the new varietals or whatever.
In the barrels.
Like, she's like, do you ever want to, if you ever want to go on a whiskey tasting, just let me know. So maybe we should go on a whiskey tasting.
I'll go on a whiskey tasting with you, only because I'm trying to get my whiskey tongue back.
Gee, that stuff sucks.
It does.
It is really bad.
I don't like whiskey.
I don't like whiskeys. I don't like any of them. I even bought, I told you I bought like $115 bottle.
Why?
Because I was going to really get it. Because I thought you were going to, you're supposed to get into it and be like, I have an aged bottle. But
what year?
It sucks. I have it up in my, it's still in the, no, I drank one thing of it and put it back in the box. And said, I'm never drinking that. It was disgusting.
Some people love it. I just don't like the taste of it.
I think it's an acquired thing, right?
Or maybe it's the smell. I think it's the smell that gets me. But that's because of hangover stuff from the past.
It was because it was what was it, like a Scottish whiskey, single malt. And it was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get the most expensive one that I could find in front of me. And I got that. And whenever you see movies, they're like, give me a single malt straight. And so I was like, let me try this. And I was like, oh, that's dirt. It's ridiculously terrible.
Tastes like ass and feet.
But the thing is, like Faye Vaughn's boy, I don't know what they are. I'm sorry, Faye Vaughn, but that guy,
his words, Faye Vaughn, not mine.
Yeah, the dude that she chills with, he was like, I can teach them how to drink wine. So if we're ever in the Redondo Beach, he has a nice beachside hacienda, and he's like, I could just teach them how to do the whole whiskey thing too.
All right, well now I got to say, hey, Vaughn, let me just holler at you for a second. I'm sorry that I said that people like that are pretentious. Not all of them are. I'm just saying there's a lot of people there that are. Depending on the time of day you go, you might be fine and not see any of these people. Steve, please, I'm backpedaling. I just wanted to let you know that your suitor, maybe that's the right way to say it. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
Your quote, unquote, person you chill with, as Steve puts it so eloquently. I have no problem with him whatsoever. I look forward to meeting him someday.
Here's the problem. I think Faye Vaughn's turning pretentious too. She goes to float labs like all the time. I think that's a pretentious thing, right?
I think that's kind of cool. I want to try it. I really do. So I can't knock something I've never tried.
No, I think she's turning into one of those, I like a 45 Chablis. I think she's turning into that person.
No.
I think so. I think.
Bringing rather rather.
I'm going to know exactly when she hears this because I'm going to get a text at 3 a.m. For sure.
Steve's like, has Faye Vaughn like,
I heard your little.
Oh, hello.
Come on.
Folks in Fresno, California call me Faye Vaughn. I'd like to sit down with you and enjoy a nice glass of Chablis.
So I hit up Johnny Bucks and I was like, hey, how about our wonderful, I think you were in the chat. I was
yes, I know where you're
going.
How
about our wonderful, how do you like, because I forgot what brought it, but I was like, oh, so you don't like our English accents. He's like, oh, I love it. And he just put, come on.
Come on, man.
Go. I was like, oh, is that the only thing I say?
Quite, yes.
But I don't know where I got come on from. We both say it, so we both know that it's a thing.
It totally is a thing. I was actually watching a Facebook video not too long ago, and there was this big old black dude, and he's somewhere in London, and he was challenging someone to a fight. And he was like, come on, man. He was saying it just like you say it. I haven't quite gotten it how you say it, but he was saying it just like that. I go, oh, well, there it is. It's true.
I need to get, once I get in it, I'm in.
Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet either.
I haven't figured out in it. Now I hear the Blurred say it, but they also say yeah, and I don't know how to say yeah right yet either. When they say it on their podcast, I'm like, I'm learning. The Blurreds are teaching me. I'm learning the whole groove.
Yeah is almost a period.
Is it?
Like, let me see.
Or a question mark. So I was going to the market, yeah?
It's like a rhetorical question.
Yes!
Yeah, there you go. That's what
like,
it is.
am I lying? No, you're not lying. I agree. Continue the story. Right?
Movie starts off at a very fast pace, yeah?
Oh, yeah, totally. Be like, so I was in my bed, yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
there
like
you go.
a comma. It's a comma.
Yeah.
It can't be a period.
No.
Like if I'm just like, so I gotta go, I was like, hurry up and get to Dan's house so I can do this podcast. Yeah.
That didn't sound right.
Yeah. So it has to be like, so I gotta get over to Dan's house, yeah, and do the podcast.
Yeah, I think that might work. But I think it's
Yeah.
like in storytelling mode, it is the comma in a sentence.
It is. Blurreds are gonna have to school us.
Yeah?
But I'm gonna get, I know right now, every time I say it, but I gotta get, in it is important to me.
It is.
In it is important to me. And then it's funny because I used to say governor a lot. And my son knew one of his friends was from England. And my son was like, oh no, he always calls us governor. I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah.
For real,
He
that's
calls
a
us
thing.
governor. It's a total
I have
thing.
never in my life
Sure
had a British person call me governor.
Not only was he British, he was a kid, like 15 years old.
Is that
He was like-
Cockney?
Is it? I don't think it's Cockney.
I
thought
don't
it
know.
was just a
I'm
thing.
asking. I don't know.
Come on, governor.
I only hear it in like comedic instances. Hello, governor.
Come on, governor. I think it's just like,
It's
homie.
a jolly holiday with Mary. Hello, governor. You know, that kind of thing.
was he Cockney?
He was pretty Cockney, I think. I don't know. I'm probably going to get it.
Oh, dude.
It's
you
not
gotta-
fucking Cockney, mate.
Oh,
I'm taking
for
a
sure.
piss right now.
What, you know what's funny? What is the, because I gotta find out, I'm gonna talk to Blurreds and be like, hey, what is the black accent that London folks have? Like, where's that from? Because Blurreds got it and Boyega got it. And I'm like, that's the coolest accent on the face of the planet.
Ace has got it real strong. He's got a good, strong accent.
Like, I could listen to them talk all freaking day. Like, I could listen to their podcast and afterwards I'd be like, so what they talk about? I'm like, I don't know. But boy, was I engaged.
Maybe we can get the Blurreds to read us, not necessarily read them to us, but like they'll record them. Bedtime stories.
We got to get them on, G.
Once upon a time, there was this evil queen, yeah?
You know what? Here's what I would do. I would want the Blurs to come on and read Jay-Z lyrics. So they'd be like, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hove. H to the O-V. I used to move snowflakes by the O-Z. I would pay money. Like, yes, this is the best thing ever.
I think we need to start a GoFundMe for that one. They'll do it. They'll do it for cheap. I know they would, but you know, we might as well make it worth their while.
I don't know, man. I don't want them just quoting. I don't know how into hip hop they are. I gotta check them. I don't know. They can't just be quoting Jay-Z lyrics and be in heresy. You got to know Jay and Pac and Big. I gotta holler at them though. Anyway, I was saying that there's something you had me do getting out of the house. What happened was I found out that my son and his Jeffrey, they found a sneak preview to Shazam.
Yes, sir.
The old Steve would have said, you already know, Dan. When I found out it was on a weekend, what would the old Steve say?
No, I'm good. No.
I wouldn't have even told you, dude. I would have been like, no, I'm not. Because in my brain, it's like, it's not coming out. They wouldn't be able to. People aren't going to see it for 2 weeks anyway. I'm not going to even. So I just said, no, I'm going to go ahead and let me just get on Fandango and see if they're available. And then I hit you up and said, hey, FYI, there's a sneak preview. And it turns out like a lot of people didn't know about this sneak preview in Fresno.
And thank you for inviting me, by the way.
For sure, dude. And I was like, yeah, we should go. And so I wasn't excited for this movie at all because I don't know a lot about Zachary Levi.
Me neither.
I wasn't a big Zach Levi and DC, dog. We just got through this. Like recently. Aquaman was not long ago.
Still scarred from Aquaman.
It's still scarred. And so we see a movie. People, we got to see a sneak preview of Shazam with a exclamation point at the end. Shazam! And I was like, okay, this is either going to be middle of the road. I knew it wasn't going to suck, but it was going to be middle of the road or good. And Dan, what did you think of Shazam?
Well, I'll tell you this. You know how like when you go to sneak previews, there's usually no trailers?
Oh, dude.
In this one, we had trailers, but folks, it didn't go off without a hitch. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Thank you. I worked for that right now. I know. I'll pat myself on the back on that one.
Dan, no, but here's the thing. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit with that. That's twice this episode you've said some pretty dynamic stuff, dude.
Danny's on fire.
It went off. You said no trailers, but it went off, or there were trailers, but it went off without a hit. That is so good. Like, that's like Mulaney level good.
Go on. I'm listening. I've got all day.
I wouldn't have, no, honestly, it took me like a second.
I was thinking to myself right there, I'm like, I know it was terrible, but I'm like, okay, he either didn't get that or he's just going to slam me right now.
I was like, oh my gosh, that is really clever. Now, mind you, in my brain, you just invented that. I don't know if people are in your cards right now being like, oh, we've heard that. Well, then fine. I've never heard that put together.
I'm like, hey, fuck you. I'm no plagiarist.
But yeah, I remember you looked at me, you said, really? We get trailers?
Yeah. Oh, I have a story to tell.
Oh, yeah, please, go.
It's not as good, though, because I can't say the word, Steve. But you got me good when you walked in.
Oh, yeah, okay, here's what happened. I remember.
Yeah.
So Dan...
This is great, you guys.
Okay, so Dan, I walk in, and I go to one side, and I look where Dan is, and I'm like, oh, no. Because I would have had to cross about 20 people. So I go to the other side and I cross like one person, then Dan, his wife, and his daughter. And I sit down and Dan says, just in the nick of time. And I was like, yep, just in nick of time. And Dan was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, just in nick of time.
But the way you said it was almost like you were like, what did you just say?
Yes. And Dan was like, that's not what I said. And I was like, Dan, I'm joking. And he laughed, but I was like, I wonder if anybody's ever heard, because there's like just in the nick of time. I was like, oh, that's totally close.
I was like, no, wait, that's not what I meant.
No, I said nick of time. I was like, I know, Dan.
Hey, man.
And that was so funny. And
society got me tripping right now. I'm like, I'm sorry.
And the thing is, we couldn't laugh the way we wanted to, because as soon as we started laughing,
the lights went out.
And speaking of lights going out.
Oh, man.
Okay, but we will get to that, because
that was so funny though. I wish, and I'm not knocking the way you told it, but there's actually a funnier version in there somewhere of how that actually went down.
For sure.
God, that was funny. Gail and I were laughing about that the whole way home.
That is so, and when the show started, I was already, that kind of primed me, because immediately within 2 seconds we're laughing, and I'm like, oh, I'm happy now. Now, one of these trailers, dude, we've talked about it before. Dude, this Godzilla movie, Dan.
It's going to blow doors.
Dan.
This movie. Listen. I don't even fuck around. I don't even fuck around with IMAX that much. On occasion, I do. Steve, dude, I think we need to make a pilgrimage to San Francisco, if that's the closest one. Yes. Metreon. And check us out some Godzilla. I don't give a damn how the script is.
Dude.
This movie, dude, is going to blow fucking doors. It looks so awesome.
Here's the thing. I want to know who made the trailer. Because that trailer is dope.
Yes.
That trailer is everything. But here's my thing. Here's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. I told Dan this, I think. Or maybe I was talking to myself. Anyway, if I have 4 heads, guess who I'm not getting beat by? Godzilla. Not a freaking chance. You should not have 4 long snake heads and let Godzilla beat you.
Is it 4 or 3? I know I'm being nitpicky.
If I have more than 1,
just if you have multiple heads.
No question. You should be king of monsters. If I fly, who cares about a daggone Godzilla? So if one of these things don't beat Godzilla, I'm going to say he's supernatural, which he already is, but still, If you got 4 heads and you're this or 3 heads and you're this beast of a thing, Godzilla shouldn't really stand it. He breathes fire. If
King
that's his superpower.
Ghidorah.
What's that?
It's King Ghidorah. I believe that's how they say it.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Or did you look it up?
No. That's his name.
Oh my God.
I don't know all of the Godzilla monsters, but I know like Mothra, King Ghidorah. I'm sure I can think of some other ones right now, but now that I've started talking about it, Mothra's, they're all
That's a bad name.
But King Ghidorah's dope. And the way that they make this dude look, that one scene, it's probably 3 seconds long, is the best shit I've seen all year.
Bruh. There is the fact that it looks like Godzilla goes to war with this thing and the army is behind him. That's pretty dope. Even though I don't want this to be like a hoorah army, please join the army movie.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's a pretty interesting visual seeing, hey, this thing is trying to save our planet. And the only way he saves our planet is if he thinks he's the king of the planet. If he needs to think he's king, fine. Hey, fine, whatever. Just kill these other things off. I don't know, man. What if they do a shock and like kill Godzilla?
They're wanting to make money.
Never mind. Okay.
That ain't gonna happen. Sorry, I just want to put a little I wanted to put the 1954 Godzilla theme in the background when we talk about this bitch. And then oh my God. What's his
you
name?
need to play Simon Says.
What the hell is his name that's in the movie? I'm doing terrible because I wasn't ready to talk.
Watanabe?
Yeah. Ken Watanabe. Yeah. And they tell him, oh, so he's just going to be our pet? And he's like, no, we will be his.
That was... And the thing, here's what I love. Are we to assume that this girl, the homegirl from Stranger Things, has a connection with him?
I don't know. I'm sure she's going to be like some head military guy's daughter who's estranged from him. That's what it's going to be. I'm not saying that the movie's not going to have its flaws, but I think that's how it's going to go. One of those, I miss my dad. I'm at odds with my father because he's in the military all the time. And then she's going to somehow get involved in this and somehow befriend Godzilla, maybe? I'm not entirely sure about that part because really we're very small compared to Godzilla, King of Monsters.
Now, do you think that whole her walking up to him on the street is at the end or in the beginning? Like, because I didn't see that last Godzilla.
I don't know. I really don't know where it falls. I'm going to have to watch it again. Dude.
Oh, you saw the Godzilla before?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't watch that. I heard that they said don't watch it because there's no fighting.
It was underwhelming. But when shit went down, dude, come on, man. It's Godzilla. I've loved Godzilla my entire life. I'm not a Godzilla freak or I know everything about Godzilla, but anytime I see him, I'm like, look at him. Just look how dope.
Gee, I always have thought Godzilla was corny because it used to come on around the monkeys. And I used to be like, dude, this looks ridiculous. And that's after watching the monkeys.
But Godzilla, just as Godzilla himself, the concept of Godzilla, I should say. Come on, dude.
Well, see, I think they slept on the job because, in my opinion, Godzilla is a movie that should have a hip hop soundtrack. I think it would make the movie totally different, and I think it's ready for it. Totally, like if you got the RZA being like, "Hey, make the soundtrack to Godzilla," I think it's a game changer, dog.
Oh,
I think it's a freaking game changer, and I'll be like, I'm not even into RZA like that, but this was a perfect placement of this. Perfect. When they go to fight and a RZA beat comes, you'll be like, oh yeah, let's go. Let's go. Or like Kendrick's rap. Gee.
You broke my stride with that, dude. No, seriously, like you had me like looking off and thinking for a second while you were talking.
How dope would that be?
RZA doing a Godzilla soundtrack.
Come on, dude.
Why is this not already a thing?
Dude. I mean, you know what? If all we know, maybe I have a feeling RZA's probably caught up with like some Quentin Tarantino. Oh no, Quentin's
He's got his own thing going on right now.
Oh, what's he doing?
He's doing the Angel of Dust with Matt Leslie and Stephen J. Smith.
Oh, that's right. The friends of the show.
Summer of '84 co-writers.
That's going to be good. I think Matt, they're really good, dude. That's going to be really solid. So yeah, stick with that. But I am excited about Godzilla. I think it's going to be a great movie. But anyway, back to Shazam. What did you think, G? What would you give it? When you walked in, did you say, I'm excited, or were you just like, let's see what it brings?
I went into Shazam with lowered expectations. I don't really expect anything from DC movies now. And it obviously had a different feel and a different look, a different aesthetic. So I didn't really know what to expect. But I'm just going to come out and say it. I think that it is in the top. Where are your balls, Dan? Say it. Say it.
Wait, Jay.
This is me in my head right now. I'm like,
what?
Should I say it? I feel it, but should I say it?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say
Think about this. All right.
Now, when I say DC movies, I am I'm not going all the way back to Batman, the original Batman, and all that stuff. I'm talking
in the last 10 years.
Out of this round of DC movies that have been coming out lately, from Man of Steel forward, I think it's in the top 3. Top 2, maybe.
What? Okay, wait. What is in? Okay, what do you think has it? Like, who is it rivaling?
I think as boring as Henry Cavill is as Superman, I really liked Man of Steel.
You're one of the few. You're like the second person I heard say that this week.
That I liked Man of Steel. Have you seen it? No.
They said you should watch that. I'm like,
that's wild that you haven't. It's a little bit slow, and like I said, I feel like Henry Cavill is a piece of chalk. He's just,
dude. He's
a great looking guy. He looks like Superman. He dressed like Superman. I don't know, man. I don't really blame him for it. I think they wrote him like a piece of chalk, just sitting there. So that said, I still like Superman very much, and Man of Steel's up there for me. And then, of course, Wonder Woman.
That's totally fair.
Because we're about to say why. We had some experiences that were like my groove got thrown off.
Now, would you put this, which one did you like better? The Dark Knight, say with Joker.
Are we talking Nolan now?
Yes.
So we were counting those?
Yes. No, we're not. We weren't. But now I'm saying, which one did you like better? This movie or Heath Ledger Joker or Batman or Dark Knight?
Well, I will tell you that I really like Heath Ledger's Joker, but the Batman movies were just all right.
Thank you. Same with me. Everyone else was like their masterpiece. I'm like,
I get it. I understand why people say that.
Totally.
But it's just, I would be lying to myself. There are some times where I almost feel like I need to be in the conversation so much because everyone's talking about it that I'll almost fake it a little bit. Not fake it, but
understand.
I will fake myself out into thinking that it's better than it is. That's a better way of putting it. So I was like that with those ones, but the rewatchability is not there for me.
Same with me, dude.
So they're not fun movies. They're almost too dark. I get it. I like seeing an edgy, darker, grittier Batman. I thought some of the shit was fantastic. Some of those scenes are masterful. But
magic, dude.
Yes. But the whole trilogy, you know what I mean?
Yes, I would. That's where I'm at.
What you doing getting Maggie Gyllenhaal as the love interest and shit? Come on.
I'm gonna go over the top, dude.
Do it, Stallone.
This is the best DC movie since Michael Keaton's Batman. I'm going over the top, dude. I believe this is the best DC movie since that.
I had to pause for a second because I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't feel I'm able to disagree just yet. I have to watch it one more time.
For sure. But the thing is, I haven't seen
because
Man
I put
of
it in the
Steel.
top 3. It might be top 2. If I watched it again without interruptions, it might be there, dude. I told you. What did I say to you right when the movie started?
Oh, you said I have a feeling that this is going to be in the new things of Marvel. It's going to be the best.
I said, calling it now. Yes, this is going to be the best one.
Sure did.
So I'm being very conservative with my rating because I want to see it again. I just got thrown off. It jacked me up a little bit, but not enough to where like I just hated it or I couldn't understand it because it's so fun.
It is
so goddamn fun.
It's a great. This is what DC is.
Yes.
Like for me, this is what they have that they haven't been using. Like, and there's I don't want to ruin it. So there's an actual scene that happens between a bad guy and a good guy in every movie. But they attack it in a way that you're like, oh, that would make it impossible for this to happen. Because you're just like, I'll give you a clue. What are you saying? When that happens, I said, oh yeah, that makes total sense. You wouldn't be able to really hear what that person's saying. I said every superhero movie has this part too.
Yes. And
That
it was
is
funny too because
so
you wouldn't
good.
you didn't expect that to be what his reply was going
Not
to be.
even close.
And not only was it what he said to answer him, but without getting away, I don't want to give away anything, but the distance.
Dude,
it was really
so
funny.
and the thing is, it was a serious moment.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah, it
broken by, and the thing is, oh, that's right, he's 15. This is how a 15-year-old would act. They'd be like, none of this is serious. I'm a superhero. None of this is serious.
I'm going to tell you something right now.
So good.
The villain in Shazam.
Oh, dude.
We're still staying in the newer DC movies.
Yes.
Best villain so far.
Oh, easily.
Easily the best villain so far.
Easily.
And you know what was cool about that movie is that it's kind of disguised a little bit. Like it's like Big. Think Big. Think the movie Big.
Yes.
Think that type of attitude. It's not a big ripoff. There are some elements of Big, and they even give a nod to it in the movie. But it's that kind of a tone, right? And then the villain, he does it in a way where it's just like it's like someone did something like a sleight of hand in front of you or something like that. But what's going on? He does some seriously brutal shit.
Oh,
in
no
this movie.
question.
Like seriously, like oh damn, you went there. But it was done in a way where it didn't break the stride of the movie.
Yes.
By the way, breaking stride. I know you guys were screaming at me. I'm sorry. Last week, Matthew Wilder. So I just wanted to close that whole gap.
Yep.
Nobody gonna hold me down. Oh no.
Yes.
Got to keep on moving. Okay. But yeah, so we are dumb. You know that?
Oh, gee, I don't know why you're saying we. I was just sitting there singing the song.
You said
But nobody knows what. Oh, yeah, I guess we all do. But still, that's what I say when he's singing.
We totally do. Anyone that's been to a grocery store knows that song.
That song is great. And they know Jason Mraz that you be hating on. So anyway, go ahead.
That's another story. But it didn't break the stride of the movie.
Fantastic, dude.
Because you have this very, it's pretty lighthearted movie, but there's some elements to the movie that you're just like, wow, they're weaving this in so nicely that everything is seamless. And yeah, man, seriously.
It's so good.
I you know me, I see movies 2-3 times.
Yes.
I think once all is said and done, it's top 2 for sure. Matter of fact, I'm calling it. It is top 2 for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and knock out Man of Steel. It's Wonder Woman and this one.
That's what I'm gonna go. Yeah, because now it's funny. When you said Wonder Woman, I thought about Wonder Woman. I was like, oh wait, that was
Wonder Woman was dope.
That was dope. It was just what was Homeboy's name? Ares.
Yeah, he was.
That
he
was
terrible,
dude.
Mm-hmm.
And
but if you could have put a villain of this caliber into Wonder Woman,
it's game changer.
Yeah,
but that wasn't the case.
No,
I think of importance, Wonder Woman wins. But like as a movie, dude. And the thing is, here's the funny thing. Mark Strong played a villain that he was so like, oh, you're just a kid. Like, this is serious what I'm doing. I'm killing folks. And they still were able to, like you said, not break the stride of, no, but this kid doesn't realize how serious everything is. Mark Strong's like, oh, you don't get that I'm going to kill you. And the kid is like, yeah, I don't ever see myself dying. So yeah, we're having fun. He's like, no. I'm trying to kill you, dude. But it never entered the kid's mind because he's a 15-year-old and death isn't a real thing to him. He's just like, hey, we're having fun. Yay. And it's not the case for Mark Strong. He's like, I am so annoyed with this 15-year-old kid in this man's body that I need to kill him. And the thing is, there's, even though, like, in the middle of the movie, let's just tell them, in the middle of the movie, all of a sudden, we lose the projection. And the lights go up for about 10 minutes. And then it starts over. And then at the last scene, the sound goes out.
The very last scene
very important happens.
Yeah, something happens that's like, oh, I didn't see that coming. But
then,
I don't know how significant it is because I didn't hear what they said.
And here's the thing. I get the sound turned off. I think it made it more fun that the sound was off because no way would the crowd have been like, oh, like they wouldn't have done that if the sound was on because we were just so frustrated that we couldn't see what was happening. And when I left, I was like, you know what? That made it a little bit more fun because we all shared in a moment. Like if the sound was on, people would have like laughed, but it wouldn't have been all of us going, the sound goes off. Oh, dude shows up. Oh, Like, that is so funny, G. We were all like one person. I said, I need to take the experience as it was. It was a great experience at the end. We all shared in that frustration, and it was kind of cool. It was perfect. I was like, wow, I've never gotten to experience that in a theater. We're just like, until we'll talk about later, Get Out, we all gasped at certain points, like loud, audible gasps. But in Shazam, it was just like this, it was so fun. But I did notice that they didn't show someone's face. So I still want to know.
I think we should stop there.
Yes.
Because that's giving something away.
Yes. They didn't show. So maybe that makes me question later on.
Yes.
The future of, but dude,
I think if you say any more, it's going to give it away, but I'm in total agreement with you.
And then the stinger at the very end, dude, there was no, we'll be back for no, it was just a fun, if you were 15 and had superpowers, this is what you would do. It's fun.
And there's 2 stingers, by the way, guys, so stick around.
Yeah, stick around.
I don't think that's really revealing anything. Yeah, people were out. But there are definitely 2. And the first one that you and I were both a little confused on, because neither one of us read Shazam.
Yeah, I don't know what the crap that means.
I can tell you this. My son is stoked about it.
Did he explain
So you were kind of like, yes. And you were like saying, we'll talk about it afterwards, but you were saying, well, I wonder what the significance of this is. Like, is this more important than, like, I'm sure this is more important. I forgot how you put it, but you said something like, I'm sure this is more important than we're getting.
Yes.
There's supposed to, there's a reveal. We'll just say that. And yeah, man, it's apparently a pretty big deal.
And did your son dig it?
He hasn't seen it. No. What happened was I went home and I recorded with Real Zodiac.
Yeah.
So it's late at night now. My son comes home from wherever he was, and he's like, how was the movie? Now, Gail is falling asleep on the couch. I'm going to throw her under the bus. It wasn't a bad thing. But he's like, so, were there stingers? I'm like, yes, there were stingers. And he's like, I hope it's this. And he kind of describes it. And then Gail did that face that Chris Pratt does, that.
Like, ooh, yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, awesome. Now I'm excited. I'm like, dang it.
But how? Okay, well, then I'm going to have to talk to your son.
He'll explain it to you very well.
Because he explained it to you?
Yes.
And are you excited now?
I'm excited for him. I don't know enough about it.
Like, hey,
no.
Cool.
Like, what I'm saying is, I'm sure this means, like we said, it means a lot to certain people. But apparently this reveal is a very, I don't want to say too much, dude. It's an important character. I'll just say that.
Oh, dude, I really cannot wait, dude. I really legitimately cannot wait. So I will watch anything I will watch anything at this point with Shazam's name on it at this point, because I am very, very excited for what comes next. I'm just excited, dude. I think it's going to be great. I think they have the perfect like tone of this movie at the end. When something happens and he's really not alone anymore, it was over for me.
I got a little scared at that point.
Really?
I was thinking this can go very badly. And then it didn't.
It went,
in my opinion,
wonderfully, dude.
It went sensationally, yeah. And I have to say, just a couple of things real quick about the cast. Okay. Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays his foster brother Freddie. You've seen him on the commercial with the crutch.
Yes.
Star. This kid is a goddamn star.
Totally.
Also, Asher Angel, who plays young Billy Batson, is a goddamn star. This kid, he's a handsome kid. Like, I see him going places, you know what I mean? He's just got a look about him, and he was fantastic in this movie. And of course, well, I'll just move along. Mark Strong, we already said. I'm laying it down right now. Best villain in the DC universe this time around.
Totally.
Okay, out of the movies. That's what I'm getting at. Calm your tits, everyone. I'm just saying that's how I feel. And then there was a surprise. The Wizard, which I won't say. It was a little surprising.
I mean,
you did fine. It was a surprise.
Here's the thing. Homeboy has he's never going to run out of work.
No, but he's crossing frontiers.
He is crossing frontiers.
Yeah. And then, of course, yeah. But of course, I don't want to leave anything out. So Zachary Levi.
Dude.
That's your DC face right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude.
I think.
The dude, and the funny thing is, even the way he talked like a 15-year-old, how he was slurring his words.
It was like big.
It was perfect, dude. It was perfect. I like he is like, it's to the point where he is so charming. that, like, remember when we saw pictures of him in the street filming it? And we were like,
Yes.
uh-oh.
Because the suit was a little scary at first.
It's supposed to be. Turns out,
Yes.
totally supposed to be. Because
Yep.
they looked at the suit and were like, what the crap is this? It is a monumental step up from Aquaman. Monumental.
Yeah, if you come out of this movie thinking Aquaman's better, I'm not going
We
to
can't
insult
have a
anyone.
conversation.
I'm just
cannot.
saying, yes, we can. We clearly have different opinions on things. But this movie is what Aquaman should have been, but could never be.
There's no way.
I take it back.
Yeah, no.
Aquaman just failed. Not monetarily. Grossed all kinds of money. I'm just saying, it failed me. It let me down. This one lifted me back up again, everybody. I'm happy. I'm looking forward. If they can do this and just keep it going, you now add, I can always call him Shane Gunn because I knew a kid named Shane Gunn. You add James Gunn to the mix, and he's going to go ahead and reboot Suicide Squad. If he can do what he did with Guardians, we're having a different conversation now. DC is going places, I think. But I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Totally.
I'm just saying that they have done something where I'm like, okay, I have not counted them out.
True. Totally true. So, out of 5, what are we going to call? I don't know what the scepter's called. I thought it was called the Rock of Eternity, but I don't think that's what it is. What is that scepter called? I tried to look it up. They don't tell me.
I'm drawing a blank. G. How about we just go with lightning bolts?
I was going to say lightning bolts too, but I thought that would be too Thorish.
It's okay. He'll forgive.
Okay, here we go. So, out of 5 lightning bolts, Dan, what do you give Shazam?
4.5 lightning bolts out of 5.
Same with me. 4.5. It was fantastic. And this is me saying this, having not even heard what they said in the last freaking scene and having it stop in the middle.
Yeah.
That's how good this movie was.
Now,
It
I'm
was
not going to
that
say,
good.
and I won't say best in this part. Okay, and this is just my
Yes.
opinion, Steve. I don't. You could disagree with me if you want.
Totally.
Perhaps. Now I'm going all. Now I'm doing all of the DCs. Top 2 funnest.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
There's
Without
no
a doubt.
Because
Forget about
Batman was not fun for me as
No.
a kid. It was not fun.
It was a
just
dark
good
movie.
It was I watched it in the last 4 months and I was like, how did they get away with me watching this?
Nicholson made it really fun. His parts were fun.
He did, but when his face got jacked, you're like, ugh. Like, it's like, wow. I mean, it's brutal, dude. It's a brutal movie.
Mhm.
But, so that is Shazam. Okay.
The heroes of noise, ladies and gentlemen, have
Yes.
spoken.
We
You got to
have
go see
spoken.
this movie.
So this next one is going to be a bit of I have a long intro for it because I actually want to set up my thoughts. And this is regarding The Dirt, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Netflix movie about the life and times of the crew of Motley. I'm very, very picky about movie biopics. Being a musician, I'm like looking at how they play. Are they playing the right chords? Do they look like the people? I'm Googling the people originally. I'm looking at live performances, comparing it with this performance. I don't know any of the songs. So all of this had it stacked against it before I give my opinion. That being said, I loved The Dirt.
Yes. I'm so happy,
I thought
man.
it was so... Okay,
You're making me
MGK's
happy
a
right now,
star.
dude.
MGK is a star, dude.
Hold up. Let's stop for a second. We need to address a certain person right now.
Who's
I
that?
think.
Who?
Our dearest
Oh,
friend,
Jesus.
Melissa. We need to. We got to give her this one, man.
Okay, Melissa, here's what I say. Your man should be an actor.
That is the most Steve compliment.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, shit. That was good. I agree 100%.
Yes, I think and here's the thing. Here's what's so awesome about what MGK did. So I'm watching him drum as Tommy Lee.
Yep.
Afterwards, I watched Tommy Lee playing the drums.
Yep.
Tommy Lee doesn't play like most drummers do.
Nope. He has marching band experience.
Yes, and when he lifts the snare drum stick, it's over his head.
Mm-hmm. With a spin.
Exactly the way that MGK does it. I said, oh my God.
Dude, it's like Tommy Lee jumped into his head.
Dude.
And like possessed him. I'm gonna turn this down.
Like even the stuff where he's like walking down a hallway and he'll like bounce off a wall, like being excited. And they show Tommy Lee, that's how he was. He was that guy. I said, MGK is a freaking star.
I'm just gonna say it. He murders the screen as Tommy Lee.
So
murders it.
Freaking good. And then Nikki Sixx.
You're doing just fine, Hudson. I'm listening. You're doing fine.
I said, what does Nikki Sixx really look like? I look it up. I'm like, close enough. And then I watch it as it goes. I'm like, that's Nikki Sixx. I don't even know Motley Crüe. But I said, everything that this guy is doing is what I imagine this Nikki Sixx character would do. Because it's like, yeah, that's what would happen if you did that thing. And if that happened, this would do that. I'm like, oh my gosh. I am buying into these characters all the way through.
100%.
120%. And my thing with Nikki Sixx was, I like that I didn't know anything about Motley Crüe. Because I didn't know who started this thing. Everything was brand spanking. And I feel sorry for people who did know the story. Because I'm like, oh, you're not having as much fun as me. Because I'm learning all these things right now. I didn't know any of this. So when he's sitting there and he's just like, he has, issues with his dad, which makes total sense. You have mom issues, rather. Multiple issues. And he's sitting there and being like, I want to, like in the back of his head, he's doing all this stuff to impress a dad that he's never going to find. He's never going to impress his dad. He's just not going to, but he's always chasing that thing. So he's like, I need a new family. And he's a destruction zone of a musician. He knows how to write. He knows how to do all these things, but he also recognizes that because a lot of these people that start bands are like, and I'm going to be the singer too. He recognizes, no. I can't do that. We need someone that can do that. And then I thought that these folks grew up with each other. In my brain, they went to high school together. Because it made sense. That's how normally, like in my brain, brands work. I did not know that Tommy Lee, having the gonads he had, was like, that's a musician I like. Let me go speak to him. Come on, dog. Come on, G. And he carries his drumsticks everywhere. Come on, dog. And then there's a part, I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but it's based on a true story. There's a part where Nikki Sixx, you see, like Tommy Lee is like twirling his thing. They're like, "Where'd you learn it?" Tommy Lee didn't even come out with a good explanation. He's like, "I was in drum corps." He does a spin, and it all of a sudden hypnotizes Nikki Sixx, and he starts smiling. And I'm like,
"He's all, but I can still rock though."
Totally. And he looks at the spin, but he's like, "Wait a minute, that's a thing." The fact that Nikki realizes that's a thing. Come on. I didn't know he legally changed his name to Nikki Sixx.
There's still so much you don't know, dude. That's the thing.
Damn.
Like, yes, sir.
Damn.
I got stuff to say too, but I don't want to stop you.
This is such... Okay, and then we go into Mick Mars. This...
Alien.
This alien human being is... I love how they had it. Normally, here's what normal biopics would do. You get a guy who plays guitar, the guy who's eventually going to be replaced, and he can't play at all. They didn't do that here. The guy was really good. He just couldn't do what they wanted him to do. That's it. But the guy was legitimately a good guitar player.
Oh, you're talking about the audition?
Yes.
Okay.
The guy was perfectly fine. And I was like, oh yeah. And if he sat down with the part enough, you could tell that he would get the part. It's just when an alien walks in and he gets it off the jump, it was almost like, oh, this world was meant for us three to be in together. It's not that guy sucks. It's that the universe is putting us together.
Right.
Not his fault. The universe is putting us together. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And even still, Nikki Sixx has the frame of mind of, we still don't want to act like we each can sing because we can't. We still need another piece. And again, most people would want to be the front man of the band they create. They want to be the person. They want to be up front. Do you know what kind of foresight it takes as a young person to say, I won't be the front man?
You got to let your ego go.
Gee, but that's when the testosterone is going at that age. And for him to be like, no, we need someone else. And then to see this weirdo, it's the equivalent of like, it would be like today if Insane Clown Posse was like, hey, let's go get George Michael to lead our group. It's like, yeah, he's handsome and he can sing, but will he fit? And Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee were like, yes, he will. I think gee, that's insane. I wouldn't have picked him. I would have picked someone who had the eyelashes, the black suit, all the things that already fit in our groove. But they let Vince Neil do him.
They made him the focal point.
Yes.
You have three black-haired guys that are standing in the back holding down the rhythm, and you have this flamboyant lead singer who can, I'm going to talk Motley Crüe talk, who can fuck anything in sight.
Yes.
And can make women want to fuck him by just being him on stage. It was, dude, those things, okay. Motley Crüe to me was not the best band of the 80s, okay, when it comes to that style of music. Mm-hmm. But Motley Crüe always stuck out to me, rather, because of all of their antics.
Yes.
Another thing is Vince Neil was probably my least favorite of Motley Crüe. Mm-hmm. I liked him to a certain point, and then as the band kind of carried on, I think that without bringing it down too much, I think that his voice started to degrade and blah, blah, blah. But when they were doing their thing and they were at their peak, there was not a stronger band in the 80s that was just fucking killing it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't even need to be like, oh, well, they had the best songs or they had the top selling albums. Motley Crüe was doing Motley Crüe, and no one was doing it like Motley Crüe. Just their theater setup. You know what I mean? Their delivery, costumes, attitude, debauchery, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Motley Crüe was like your freaking benchmark for that shit back then. Dude. But then they could do shit like this. And I'm playing this for a reason. All right, we got enough of that. I did that for a reason. And the reason being is that when they looked the way they looked, you didn't expect that to come out of them. No, you know what I mean? And Motley Crüe, love them or hate them, are all fantastic musicians. Getting back to Vince, he was like my least favorite. But they were all fantastic musicians. All of their albums have some pretty good songs musically on them. Even the one that's just the self-titled that has John Corabi, where Vince Neil left for a while and John Corabi came on. That is a really fucking good album, but I can't get past the fact that it's not Motley Crüe, which is why I never really listened to it that much. But musically, it's fantastic. And what a band.
Here's the thing, man. It was tough because I knew that when you're in a band and you've been screwing a bunch of girls, that doesn't exclude maybe sometimes your girl. And I was like, well, that makes sense. It's not out of because you think, oh, we're all doing this. We all should be in on this. But when you start to grow up and actually have feelings for women, some of the other band members aren't there yet. They don't have feelings for them yet. So they're like, oh, we could just screw each other girl, right? Yeah. Until you're like, oh, wait, we probably shouldn't do that. It's the recipe. It's the recipe of destruction. And it didn't destroy them. That's a heck of a thing. And I remember, like, I was listening to the music, and I was just watching the movie, and they did a song called "Shot to the Devil," and it was going, and they were just like, the drummer was going, but then in between vocal lines, he'd do this, but I was like, do they really do that? And I got online and I was like, oh, that. I was like, that is so nifty.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, play it real quick, yeah. Hold on, it's coming.
Right here. Right here.
That is so clean. And that's what made me be like, wait. And I got online immediately and said, wait a minute. And dude, that is so clean.
Tommy Lee is not, I would not call Tommy Lee one of the best drummers, but he is so much fun to watch.
He is, dude, that whole, hey, because I remember the cage that was up in the sky. I remember that from way back in the day.
That was like flying over the audience and stuff. Yeah.
And that's hard to play upside down, G. That's hard to do the upside down playing because you're fighting against gravity.
Yeah.
That's very difficult to do. And again, those little flourishes, every musician's going to be like, ugh, that was nasty. Guaranteed. They'll be like, ugh, that little break. Because I guarantee that was probably just an empty break. And he was like, wait, why don't we do this thing? And it was really cool. And again, it was the vision. If I am to believe this movie, it was the magic of Nikki Sixx and the charisma of Tommy Lee that put this group together. Everyone loved him. When he met him, they just loved Tommy Lee. Nikki Sixx didn't have to talk to anybody. When people saw Tommy Lee, they'd be like, hey, Tommy. Be like, hey, you should join us. Yeah, come on. People liked him. Nikki Sixx just didn't have that. He was just like a brilliance behind the moment, right?
Yeah, he's the man behind the magic.
Yes, but Tommy was just the guy that's like, when you met him, you liked him. And you're like, sure, I'll go meet you wherever this place is. Now, what I loved is, when they were going through band names, I thought it made me think, I won't say who came up with it because I know some of y'all haven't watched it, but the person who came up with it, it was almost as if they had this, it was like Heroes of Noise. They had it in their back pocket and they pulled it out for this time.
He even said, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time.
Yes. And I'm like, oh, he had it in his back pocket, but he was looking as, do I want to burn it on this? And he knew it was time to burn it on this. And knowing that he was like 7 years doesn't seem like a lot of age between people, but the difference between 21 and 28 is a lot. And when you're dealing with 21-year-olds when you're 28, it could get frustrating because no one's as serious as you are. No one's going to be taking this as seriously as you are. So the fact that Mars still dealt with them says a lot. Like when you're 35 and they're still 28, like that's light years difference. You're not into that. You saw how when they were doing their debauchery, a lot of times he was like, dude, can we just, what are we doing? Like it got ridiculous. Like the Ozzy Osbourne scene was insane. And
that really happened, by the way.
And he was looking, you saw him being like, ever so often, I'm sure he looked around like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing here? I did not see my life turning into this, but it worked. And I didn't know, I'm not going to ruin it, but there's a person that is someone's one that got away. And when I look back, I'm like, that totally makes sense. She was dope. Everyone. I remember watching certain shows with her on and I was like, man, she is a fox. And I was like, whatever happened to them? And it turns out he just screwed it up because he was in Motley Crüe. He was in Motley Crüe. Okay. When I watched them, I was like, well, what? The life they were leading. Oh, dude. Shoot. I got to say it. All right. Here's the thing, dude. This is big. For me, some people talk a good game and they don't live that game. Motley Crüe sung a game that they lived. It was not a front. Like it was, the reason they could talk about girls is because they lived it the night before. This was a real thing when there's a part where they said, let me take you through a day with Tommy Lee.
That's such a great part.
And I said, the thing is, most biopics, I'm not buying it. That biopic, I'm like, that looks about right if what they're saying is real. This looks about right. And like knowing that that's the life they chose makes at 21 it's like, no doesn't make sense. If you're going to show up and show me this, yes, then yes to that. Yes. Like they lived the life. And I mean, there wasn't really much like, the only person that really got a lot of the consequences was Vince Neil. He got like all the consequences of all this, and everyone else didn't have that. And I'm like, it sucks that Vince Neil did. But again, all of them had a great, wonderful run. And the thing is, they can now, being that they retired, I guess, in 2015, if someone was like, hey, did you leave it all on the floor? They can say, we left it all on the floor. Was there anything you wish you would have done? Be like, no. Because even if I said, I wish I would have done something, a manager from our past would be like, oh, you did that. You don't remember because I'm the one that cleaned it up, but it did happen. And you got that out of your system. And I'm like, how else? This is a story for me. And I think it just was way deeper than it should have been. But this is a story of, have you left it all on the stage? Like, you can say what you want about Motley Crüe, but they could at least tell you, hey, we lived, dude. We did it all the way to the wall, all the way.
There's no reason for these guys to be alive.
Exactly. But if they would have died mid-stride, they would be on the other side being like, but boy, did I go out with a blaze, right?
No regrets.
I did it all on the table. Like me, I'd be like, I'm living the clean life. I'm living this way, and I die at 90. They'd be like, yeah, but in our 20-year run, 30-year run, look at this. Dude, they lived, bruh. Now, I'm not saying you should do everything they did, but what I will say is if you get through life having done 2 to 3% of how they did, just having fun, have a weekend where you just act a fool. All you married people, turn off your ears. Where you just act a fool. Being safe, but act a fool sometimes. When you're 90, you're not going to look back and be like, dang, that freaking weekend. No, you're going to look back and be like, haha, remember that weekend in Tahoe? Why did I say Tahoe? Remember that weekend in Redlands? You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll be able to look.
Inside jokes are the best.
Like, or you remember Vegas? You remember that?
Yeah. I think what you're trying to say is trash the hotel room.
One day. What are you going to do?
Just once.
And also live, dude. This is a movie that is going to stick with me more than it should. It really is. It's going to stick with me more than it should because they found a family. That's the most important part of the story. They didn't just do balls to the wall. They did balls to the wall with their brothers. So that they have, I guarantee that you could literally, I bet you Tommy Lee could call Vince and be like, hey, remember the hotel in Denmark? And they both wouldn't have to say anything else. They'd be like, oh my God, yes, that was awesome. All right, bye. That's it. Because we're like, yeah, I remember, that's awesome. That is how you live. These people are going to be able to tell their sons, don't do this thing. Why? Because I did it and this is what happens. That's crazy. Well, how do I know you did it? Oh, I can tell you what happens when you do that thing because I did it all. You know what I'm saying? And it was for me, it was deeper than it should have been because it's like these guys lived balls to the wall. And I think everyone should, at least at some point in your life, do it. Do balls to the wall all the way. You never know what could happen. Mind you, these guys they were playing for no one at first. Nobody at first. And their name just got around and they didn't go on American Idol. They literally had to do these hole in the wall clubs, the Troubadour, then the Whiskey. And next thing you know, they have a name. And then they did that whole club scene for a while, dude. Looking up their Wikipedia, it wasn't like overnight success. They did it for a minute, G. And then slowly they started blowing up, and exploded. But they did the groundwork, G. Oh, yeah. They didn't just wake up learning their guitar. They wrote songs, perfected those songs, and then toured those songs to people that didn't know the song. That's insane. Today, that is insane. There was no YouTube. They didn't know the songs when people went to see Motley Crüe. They didn't know their written songs. They learned them because they were there every night performing. That's crazy. That is crazy. Their ascent is crazy, and it's just a love for being in front of people. And they're like, we're gonna have pyrotechnics. They couldn't afford pyrotechnics yet, but they're just like, but one day we're gonna have a show that is fire. This, explosions, smoke. And they did it, G. They never lost sight of what Motley Crüe was. It was just, dude, as you see, I dug the movie.
Yeah, I was letting you go because I don't normally hear you go off about these. Well, rock docs you totally do. But,
dude, it's just my thing.
No, I've got strong feelings about this movie. It's very close to me because I did read the book. It is called The Dirt. It's written by Motley Crüe with Neil Strauss. And there is so much in this book, guys. It's 450 pages long.
Jesus.
And if you liked the movie, you're going to fucking love the book because it goes way more detail than the movie could, because you just can't fit that amount of craziness and that big of a story into an hour and 48 minutes. You can't do it, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been wanting this movie to come out for a long time. I think they've been throwing the idea around for close to a decade. It was originally going to be on the big screen, which if I had my way, I would have rather seen it that way because I think it would have had a bigger budget. Not that it suffers from it, but if, as I've been saying all week, if you gave this movie the Bohemian Rhapsody treatment and allow them to tell that story, maybe make the movie 2.5 to 3 hours long, you wouldn't be bored. It's an amazing story. It is a freaking roller coaster ride. And I was so happy to finally see it come out, man. I was like chomping at the bit. As soon as I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, it's on now. And I was a little bit worried because honestly, as I did not expect Machine Gun Kelly to do what he did in this movie. And I don't know how to say his name. I should, but I'm talking about Ewan Rayon, I think it is, the guy from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Ramsay Bolton.
Yes.
He does a fantastic job.
He had the least side of
yes, but that's how Mick is. Mick Mars has always been a very quiet guy, and I don't know that side of him because he never really exposed it. If you looked at old, like I had some videos back in the day when they came out with Theater of Pain, where it was just kind of showing some of the recording stuff and a lot of the touring and just all the craziness that they get into. It's very much the same way. Mick's just kind of quiet. He says a few things. I love the take that they did on him, where he was very cynical. And he was like bored with it, but he was so focused in his goal that he was going to ride it all the way out. He said it, like I said, he's been waiting a long time for this. And he put everything into it. Another side that they showed of him, and they only touched on it just a little bit, was his diagnosis of ankylosing spondylitis, which if you guys aren't familiar with that, is a spinal disease where your vertebrae essentially just fuse up. If you were looking at an x-ray, it almost looks like a bamboo shoot. That's how hard and petrified it gets. And he's got it very bad now. So they sort of showed you a little bit of that. More so than anyone else, they showed the struggle with Nikki Sixx and his heroin problem. But it goes into way more detail than that. They didn't really explain that the song Kickstart My Heart comes from his dying and then bringing him back. Credit to the paramedic that brought him back, by the way. Because, you know, he should be sending him flowers
Nikki
every
Sixx
freaking day.
Is not going to be dying today.
Yeah, not in my truck. Honestly, the one that I thought was kind of the weakest was Daniel Weber, who plays Vince Neil. And I was talking to you about this the other day, Steve. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was his acting or if it was just his... I'm being a little nicer. His appearance. I don't know what it was. There was something about him that made me like him the least. I guess you have to go in some kind of an order. But in comparison to the rest of the band, I thought he was a little bit on the weak side. And they did take some artistic license with the movie for reasons I imagine to kind of condense the story. And because there's just certain things, like in most situations, and they've done it in every movie that's like this, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. So you have to sort of fill in the blanks with, you know, your take your liberty as a writer and fill in the blanks. So there was a couple of things that I thought were a little on the heavy side, which was his daughter, Vince Neil's daughter, Skylar. I could have done with.
Oh, dude.
There's a couple of lines in the movie, and again, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and not say them just because it's still kind of a new movie. It hasn't even been out a week yet, even though I've watched it 5 times, Steve.
Oh, Jesus.
But I just love the movie. I love the story of Motley Crüe. But there is a line that Skylar says to Vince, and it was like one of those "please, Daddy, don't" kind of things. That's all I'm going to say.
Oy.
And no, it's not. And it's not anything bad. It's just a bad situation. I could have done without that line. I thought that was a little on the tacky side. No, you know what I'm saying? I thought it was a little on the tacky side.
I was in. You already know, G. Those get me. I mean, it's tacky and it just worked. And I was like, oh, it's for people like myself.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. And it doesn't take anything away from the movie. It was just like, ooh, okay, we're going there.
I didn't think they were going to do that, though. I was like, oh, so.
Yeah, well, you didn't know the story.
Money. Yeah, so I'm like, oh, so when does she get. Oh, dude. Nope. I said no. And then the graying of her. Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Dude, I'm like, what movie am I watching? But it made it real.
It made it very real.
Real. And when he was in the bar, I almost lost it when they all started hugging. I was done.
That was a very good scene. No, getting back to me talking that Daniel Weber was kind of the weakest one, in my opinion. I thought that he did really well there. It convinced me.
Holy crap.
And then the way that they end it, where they're all walking to the stage, it's like, okay, you guys know what you're doing.
Very Bohemian Rhapsody-ish.
Yes. That's actually very good. But my hat goes off to the filmmakers that made this movie and that were able to take a smaller budget and do what they did with it. If they had a budget like Bohemian Rhapsody, this might be one of my favorite movies of all time because it is one of my favorite stories of all time.
By the way, the director, Jeff Tremaine, from Johnny Knoxville fame. He directed all Johnny Knoxville movies.
All the Jackass movies?
Yes!
Oh, yeah. Jackass 3D, Bad Grandpa. Okay, he's friends with Johnny. Hey, someone had to do it, right?
I mean, if anyone's going to do it, I would think this guy knows the story.
And he knows crazy.
Yeah, and they're not going to give this movie $100 million.
No, but they should have.
But I don't think that they had a reason to because there were no. I think Netflix is like, we want that money. We want that Skrilla because they're going to push Oscar season. They're going to push it. They will, dude. Because remember, they're going for Oscar bait. And I think one of them can get supporting.
Yes. Do you think that, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
On that note, do you think this movie's Oscar worthy?
I'm totally biased. You shouldn't ask me that. If it's a good music biopic, I'm like, put it in Oscar. Like, if it wins an Oscar, great. It's just, when I say that it's going to be best movie, dude, there are some monsters coming, dude. And that's going to be like, it's always going to be wonderful for me, The Dirt. But am I going to remember it at the end of this year? I don't know, dude.
No, I'm going to tell you, I don't think that this particular version of the movie does deserve an Oscar. But it is a fantastic movie. It's super fun. You have to sort of just go with it and put your PC blinders on and realize that this was the fucking 80s and that these groupie women wanted to be there. You have to understand that because there's some shit that goes on. It's not very, it's kind of glossed over actually in this movie in comparison to the book. But these women wanted to be there. And it was like a badge of honor. You know, you go back to, what was that movie that, was it Cameron Crowe?
Almost Famous.
Thank you. It goes back to that. It's just something that's always been there. You know what I mean? And but anyway, to go back to it, I don't think this movie is going to be an Oscar-worthy film, but I'm going to say something that's pretty bold right now.
Oh, sniff.
Because I'm saying what I think you were saying and don't want to admit.
Yeah.
I think Machine Gun Kelly could totally be in the running for supporting actor. I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm just saying I think they should give him a nod from what I've seen so far.
For sure. And the thing is, it's funny. It's the equivalent of like me. Like, say I like this whole time I've been juggling.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I find out I'm a piano prodigy. I'm like, oh, maybe I should just try piano prodigying from here on. That's Machine Gun Kelly.
By the way, Steve is taking a literal page from his life.
Yes. No question.
You asshole. Because, he just happens to be an awesome juggler and a prodigy.
Come on. And
wow.
So what happened was Machine Gun Kelly, all this time, he thought he was a rapper. Turns out he was an actor. Yeah. Great. He should totally be acting instead of the thing he does less well.
Let me tell you one thing, though. This makes up so hard for Captive State because that was the most, we barely talked about it last week, but he was so generic in this movie.
He was in Captive State?
Yes. Oh, he's just, he should just be generic white friend to the black guy. That's what they should have called him in this movie. They wrote him like they wrote the black guy in Monster Project.
Come on, son. What are you
Kinda.
doing? You
Yeah, no,
jive
seriously.
turkey.
But the white version of that doing a black guy kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And it was really bad. This makes up for it. I can't tell you how much I like Machine Gun Kelly in this role. And I'm going to say another thing. You can argue me, okay? And I'll probably just go, yeah, whatever. That's your opinion. I think that Machine Gun Kelly does for Tommy Lee. You ready for this?
Dan, don't do it.
What Rami does for Freddie Mercury.
Out of your mind.
How?
Okay, number one, Tommy Lee doesn't have an accent.
Oh, come on.
Number two, he doesn't have prosthetics. Number three, his stage presence is nowhere near what Freddie Mercury was an impossible feat. Because remember, he was one of the greatest performers of all time. And Rami, who doesn't play music or sing until he learned to do it for Freddie, had to embody the greatest performer of all time.
But that's all opinion based.
No, but
what you just said was opinion based.
Okay, but everyone will say, who's a better performer, Freddie Mercury or Tommy Lee? They'll be like, well, Freddie Mercury. Because he's out front.
Man. Because you just said the magic words right there. You said stage presence. You've never seen Motley Crüe in concert.
Okay, do you think Tommy Lee has as much stage presence as Freddie Mercury? Does he have a Live Aid performance?
Yes.
I'm saying, does he have a Live Aid performance?
Oh, no, sorry. I'm thinking Us Festival. I apologize.
The equivalent to Freddie Mercury's performance.
No, but I'm not comparing the Live Aid performance. I'm saying...
But we have to, in order to say Rami Malek duplicated it. That's crazy.
That Machine Gun Kelly became Tommy Lee. From the way he blew smoke rings and snorted them, to the way he walked, to the way he smiled, to the way he was like, dude, I mean, that's Tommy Lee.
I understand that, but I'd say Tommy Lee, but the thing is, remember, Machine Gun kept his normal voice. That's how he talks. He just did. So right off the bat, we can't even put it in the same vicinity of Freddie Mercury.
See, I know this was going to be, anytime you bring up Rami Malek.
Oh, you know what? Let's go to Jamie Foxx. Let's go Jamie Foxx, Ray Charles.
Yeah.
When you change the way you talk and speak and everything, walk, play, the whole nine, then I'm like, okay, you did that. But they
Machine
got
Gun Kelly
some.
did.
He didn't. He talks like that. He changed the words he used, but he didn't change himself.
He learned to play like Tommy Lee. That's no easy feat. I'm not, again, I said, Tommy Lee is not the greatest drummer, but he is one of the most flamboyant and showy drummers.
Here's what I will say.
He emulated that.
If they said, Steve Hudson, never having acted before, can you learn how to play like Tommy Lee or can you do the Live Aid performance? I'd be like, Tommy Lee is going to be probably closer than what I could do to Freddie Mercury. I couldn't do that. That is because it's more than just him walking and doing. There's a thing Freddie does that I still don't understand that Rami did. Well, can you do the Ray Charles? No, I can't. Even though I play piano, I could play piano like Ray Charles, but the singing and the talking, I couldn't do. I just can't do it.
I feel you, dude. And I don't think that we're ever going to come to like it's not an argument. It's not really a debate. It's
no,
just
I get what but the thing is, here's the thing. I just realized something. What you're saying is what he did was he became Tommy Lee.
He became Tommy Lee. It's exactly what I said.
In the same way, not good or better, whatever. In the same way as some of the great biopics, that person tries to embody that other person.
I'm not talking crazy talk. I'm just saying from what I've seen so far, I would, if they gave him a nod, I'd be like, okay,
oh, no question.
I get it. But I'm also saying this too. I don't like Tommy Lee as much as you like Freddie Mercury. So I think some of this comes from the heart. You know what I mean?
I've always liked, yes, but I've always did, oddly enough. I don't know how this happened, but I only knew about Tommy Lee. I didn't really know Vince Neil, but I always have known Tommy Lee.
That's kind of cool. If you go down the history of Tommy Lee, because he is big.
Oh yeah, I remember, yeah. But I know that he used to like hang with Snoop for some random reason. He like had a circle.
Yes, and as he got older, like once the band started kind of taking longer breaks and things like that, he started doing DJ stuff, and that's where he had a band called Methods of Mayhem, and he tried to like mesh hip hop with rock and stuff like that. It was during that phase of like the late 90s. But I never really cared for it. And quite honestly, when I saw Motley Crüe the last couple of times, he was a bit much, because everything's just about like, can I get a hell yeah? And just when he did a drum solo, it wasn't a drum solo. He was in the roller coaster thing and spinning around whatever tour you saw, but he just played along to other people's music. There was no drum solo. It was just him literally playing along with other people's music and going, yeah, and amping the crowd up. And she was like a hype man.
Of course, yeah.
But a huge presence. Always.
But the thing is, no Tommy Lee, no Travis Barker.
I wonder if he has some kind of training with the band too, because he's kind of showy too.
There's no question that Tommy Lee changed the way rock drummers, or maybe, you know what? Who was first, Def Leppard or him?
Oh, no, he didn't change anything. There's two different things. I just think that I know what you're saying, but I can tell you as a kid, without shame, who sat in his room and air guitared and air drummed and sang and just made a fool of myself to Motley Crüe songs back in the day. There were better drummers, but there was no one flashier. I wanted to be Tommy Lee so fucking bad when I was a kid, dude. Just all that. And then between the second beat, you've got your arm flipping around your head and spinning a drumstick. I learned to spin a drumstick because of Tommy Lee. I learned, some people will know what I'm talking about. I don't know if you get this or not, but there was this thing he did in concert, and I think he did it on the Smoking in the Boys Room video. Yes, Smoking in the Boys Room. He hits the snare. Drumstick flies up into the air a good 15 feet and catches it on the beat and plays along. It's one of the dopest things I've ever seen Tommy Lee do. The dude's kind of a hero of mine, man, even though I like him more than I like his music. He wasn't always the nicest guy. He did some fucked up things, but I don't know. They're just this larger than life band. They're and huge. I can't tell you how much joy it brought me to see The Dirt finally come to the screen. Even though it wasn't the version I was expecting, I was completely happy with it.
Okay, out of 5 drumsticks, drumsticks, that sounds better. Out of 5 drumsticks, what do you give this movie?
As the movie, I'm going to give it pentagram, Steve. And let's see. Well, see, you don't know what I'm talking about. See, it's a Motley Crüe thing. The fucking cover of Shout at the Devil has a pentagram on it.
Yeah, but also when I think pentagram, I think werewolves. So,
well, then I'm really going to give it a pentagram.
Thanks,
now.
I appreciate that.
Let's see. For pure enjoyment, I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5 pentagrams.
Yes, I give it 4 out of 5 for sure. I liked it a lot, dude. I was like, this is a great. After I watched, I'm like, I'm glad I watched that.
This one is it's in this regular rotation. I swear to you, I've literally watched it 5 times.
That is so fun. You're a rewatcher though.
I don't appreciate their music as much as you appreciate the music of Queen, but I just appreciate the book so much. Totally guys, I'm telling you, the book is a 6 out of 5. It is so good. Guys, pick this book up right now. I'm telling you, I think you get for like $13 if you have like on Apple, I believe, in the iTunes store, you can get it for like $15. It's just a fantastic book. You're not going to be reading War and Peace. This is just a story among stories, and you got to check it out. And also, the way that it's written is the way that they did it in the movie too. So it'll be like Nikki Sixx talking for a while, and then you know how like Tommy Lee's like, "Is it finally time to talk about me, dude?" Sweet, that kind of thing. They do that in the book, and it just works really well.
I'm gonna borrow it from you.
Yes, you should.
Can't wait.
And just read. You'll read the shit out of it. It's so good.
And because look, I read Kevin Smith, 500 and something page diary book. So yeah, I'll read that.
Yeah. And Kevin Smith's a fun read. And I think you obviously know this, that this is a different type of a read, but it's like that. Just, go the entire time. So good. Couldn't put it down.
That is awesome. So yes, check out The Dirt. This next one is ill for me because I don't want to say anything. Because there are some people that don't even know the premise of this movie. Oh, dude. You're too young to remember this song, Dan, but this was a hit.
I love how you say that every week, and I got so many years on you.
So many.
I remember
now.
This song. This is about the cheapest guy that ever wanted to smoke weed ever.
Oh, and there's a big article on how that dude that sings it didn't get a dime.
Who was it? Remind me, was it Loonies or something like that?
Oh no, the people that rap is the Loonies. The dude that sung it, he was just a guest singer. And he's like, I came up with I came up with the chorus and they never gave me anything. They're like, yeah, not a dime. Next question. Because he didn't have his paperwork right.
And now it's in the trailer for us.
It drives him crazy.
I bet it does.
because you think it's done. But then it comes back, and now it's another hit on iTunes again. Oh, now that's the scary one, though.
But it's so dope.
Dude. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know already, we're about to talk about.
No, we're about to talk about this movie.
I can't really talk about it though.
Sure, we can.
Because not only that, but I have 15 minutes.
15? I thought you. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, that goes quick. All right, Rockstar. Let's turn this down for a second. Then. Steve's in demand these days. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the movie Us. Let's do it.
We're not going to give spoilers away because a lot of people have not seen it, even though, $70 million opening.
I may have to give something away. I got questions.
Okay.
We really shouldn't have talked about the dirt. We should have just gone to this one because there's a lot I have to say about this movie.
I will say this. It's probably going to be my favorite movie of the year.
Really?
Easily. Yes.
That's super, super early to call that, man.
Yeah. Unless another one comes around, right now, it's beating everything by head and shoulders, dude.
Well, right now.
Dude, we've seen some monsters so far.
I've changed my mind on a couple of them, but yes, you're right.
You're like, this is so... Jordan Peele is a gene. Yes. Lupita Nyong'o in this movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm going first.
Oh my God, dude.
Dude.
I had to remind myself that, they're the same person.
Here's my early prediction, Steve.
Well, that's what people are saying.
It's gotta be.
Because she acts against herself. Dude. How did she do that, G?
Acts against herself, and the character created, the character of Red, that's all I'll say.
Dude.
There's certain things. It's the way she looks.
Yes.
It's the way that she moves her body. It's the way she sounds. And then a little bit later, you find out why she sounds that way.
And then when you got the director, Jordan Peele said one time he approached her in that look. He said, it freaked me out.
It freaked me out.
Like when she starts walking to you with those big eyes, you're like, yep, that's going to work.
Yes. Dude, her eyes are piercing.
When she did that little thing with the side of her face with her fingers, you're like, oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, for me, here's the funniest part. Like this was a legitimately funny movie. There were funny parts in this movie. So you find out, yes, he is still from Key and Peele. He still has that thing where like and the funny thing, when the brother did that whole, we can get crazy. I'm like, we've all done that. I've done that. Where you got to get loud. So you put the bass in your voice and you kind of be like, hey, but it didn't work.
Did you notice they used a different version from the trailer?
Totally.
Just a little bit different, but I like that one better because he did, like what you're saying, he made his voice go so much bigger.
Yeah, we could get crazy. Like, I'm like, and you know he doesn't talk like that. And there's little things he puts in. Like, for instance, when Winston Duke says, have you called the police? Yeah, they'll be here in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, that means wherever they're from, the police don't take that long. They're from a nice side of town. He said, 15 minutes, that's insane. Whereas all of us are like, 15 minutes, good luck.
This movie drops so many little seeds that are going to grow later on in your brain.
If I watched it again, I would say, how didn't I get the ending?
I'm going tonight.
I'm so sick of you, Dan.
I've got to. There's shit I need to know. I need to figure out. And I'm so wishing we started it. I want to apologize to you guys and maybe we'll come back to it. I know we've said that before.
You know what? Let's come back to, here's the thing.
Should we do a non-spoilery and then come back to it?
Yes, we should have an us dedicated. All right, people, we just decided
to take a little break for a second to figure something out.
Because I ran my mouth about the dirt, which I'm not going to regret. No, I think it deserved that because it was so good. But we're going to do a quick one and a quick spoiler-free review, and then we're going to come back to it on Saturday. because Dan's a G and he's willing to sacrifice some of his love and time with his wife for me.
Can we do it tomorrow?
We can do it tomorrow for an hour.
Let's do an hour tomorrow. Let's do an hour tomorrow.
We can do that. We could do
All
like
right, there
1
it
to
is.
2. Yeah.
There it is. Behind the scenes stuff, guys.
So when you have, remember the audience, we were sitting there in the audience. There was a thing that happens that elicited a gasp throughout the audience when I was there. It was
Give
like,
me a hint.
When people realized that someone was someone, everyone gasped.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, so that showed. And the thing is, Jordan Peele, he wasn't trying to hide it. He's such a good filmmaker. I heard one dude said he knew it from jump. The film was so good that he forgot it to the end. He was like, oh, that's right. I forgot about it. Because he weaves this tale that makes the Santa Cruz boardwalk so creepy. He weaves this weird tale. And it turns out what they did was, to make it seem like people were at the boardwalk, they put dummies on the rides and then made those dummies move using CGI. I said, they didn't have to do that. I wasn't looking to see if the crowd was moving, but Jordan Peele was like, no. We have to make them move on those.
And I could be wrong, but I think that they retroed out the boardwalk too a little bit, because it does. What does it take place in 86?
Yeah, did they retro it out, or did they retro how they were dressed?
I've been to the boardwalk several times. I didn't really remember the layout that well, but I just thought maybe just for the sake of time, because it has changed a little bit. Maybe they retroed it out a little bit.
I know they did put like that mirror plate thing isn't there.
No,
that doesn't exist. I think they should
make
it there. They should have.
I'm not going in it though.
Here's what I guarantee you: people would be lined up to go into that place. Shame on them, because I ain't. But they would line up to go into something like that. Now, I would be there quicker than a werewolf house for sure, no question. The fact that I went into the werewolf thing at Halloween Horror Nights, that means I would go into the mirror thing for sure, no question. But it would still be spooky. It would be very, very spooky.
Us, Universal Studios, Hollywood Horror Nights.
Dan. Now, you know what I found out, though? Even though Blum was producer on this, the budget was $20 million.
But Blumhouse.
I thought he only did 5.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like 5 at all. But Blumhouse was there last year.
Yeah, he gave 20.
Oh my God.
Might do it, dude. And I think Jordan Peele is becoming Blumhouse's star.
You think? He's making them all kinds of money. I think it goes without saying, Steve.
Like from Get Out to this, and he said he's only doing 2 more movies and he's done.
There's an interview on Empire, the Empire magazine. It's a podcast, you guys, and I'm sorry I don't have the name of it handy.
I didn't know they still did Empire.
He does,
magazine.
yes, I have it. He does an hour and a half interview with them, from what I understand. Or you know what? The podcast, I should say, the episode is an hour and a half. I'm not exactly sure how long the interview is, but it just came out, and he does give his thoughts on some things that we might have questions about. So those things that left you scratching your head when you walked out of the theater, apparently he's going to go over some of them, but obviously he's not going to show all of his cards. What I did learn, though, is that he has like a whole narrative, a whole mythology that goes with this.
Sure does. He has a universe. Yes. But I don't think, why touch it again? Leave it alone. But everyone's saying they would go watch another one of these to find out what happens.
For some reason, I feel like I would be underwhelmed because I'm expecting something else. But what I would like to see is the universe where it's all connected, and maybe at the final movie, you start seeing some reveals. Nothing too major, but things sort of like in the vein of Shyamalan. How he did, years later, yes. Oh shit, look at Bruce Willis in Split. That kind of a thing.
Yes. I would love, I think, first of all, let me first give him props with Winston Duke, Lupita, and Jordan for them to do the rollout at Howard University. That's so important. That's a huge deal. And seeing how excited the kids were, seeing themselves on screen, they were going crazy, and they did a Q&A afterwards. I was like, this is beautiful. Then they did one at USC. They're just doing these things where like They want to inspire filmmakers. Look at how you can make a horror movie. And it doesn't have to be, oh, it has to be Halloween. No, it could be a mythical universe you're making these in. Like, I thought that this angle he took on this, only Jordan Peele could have taken this angle. That's it. Only Jordan Peele could have been like, I can't even say it. We're going to say it next time. But the angle he took on it, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Because there's a part at the end where they're showing split screens of certain people doing something and other people doing something. These people doing something and other people. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. All of us in the theater were like, oh my God. Because if I'm doing something, for people who've seen it, or you're going to know what I'm talking about. If I'm walking through my house, it makes sense. But if I'm having to follow the same steps in a small room, I go crazy.
This is really hard to talk about without giving stuff away. Guys, I promise we are going to give you an Us special. It's probably only going to be about an hour long, but we're going to do a bonus episode this week for sure. Because I have to talk about this movie with you, dude. And this isn't cutting it for me.
It is so, I mean, here's the thing. It's Jordan Peele's eye is so weird. It's so strange. Like how he's able to weave comedy into a horror movie without making it less horrific.
There's one particular scene where there's some shit going down and Winston Duke's character is offering them things like, you can have my wallet. You can have this, you can have that.
Totally tricking out.
And the scene's like super intense. And getting back to what you're saying, he says, you can have my boat. And she's like, no one wants that boat, Dad. And you don't miss a beat, though. Funny. It still stays intense, but you're like, you're laughing at the same time. It was so well done.
And even the kids killing people and then in the car giving each other a fist bump like we did that. Like we're handling this business. I love that they didn't make the kids dumb and useless. They're like,
They're not snarky.
What we're not going to do is die today. Gee, it was so wonderful where it's just like, you know how normally the kids mess up until they have to act later. No. They said, no, this is serious. We're killing off jump. We need to start killing people right now. Otherwise, we don't make it out. I said, wow, this is incredible. This is incredible because it's Elizabeth Moss, Tim Heidecker. They did such a wonderful job. Because I remember Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric. And I thought it was a weird, and it makes sense that Jordan Peele would get him. And he did such a great job. Elizabeth Moss, I have a thing for her.
Yeah, you've said that before.
You don't see it, do you?
No, but it doesn't mean that I think you're wrong. Or weird for thinking it.
Yeah, okay, I feel. Now, mind you, I can't even talk about Lupita Nyong'o. I can't. I always have had I can't even do the
She is...
She just is freaking a knockout.
But she's badass in this movie. She's bad. I'm talking about just this movie alone. She's badass. She's beautiful. Like, crazy beautiful in this movie. And scary as hell at the same time.
When Red started talking, the crowd were like, that voice freaked everybody out in the theater.
I don't like it.
And the thing is, here's the scary part. From my point of view, seeing myself more manly than me would mess me up. I can't beat this better version of me. That's scary. He is a better version of me. As far as strength and meanness and fighting. He is what I would be if I was a caveman. Like, there is no fighting him. I just have to outsmart him. That's it. That's all I can do. And Lupita was dealing with someone who's a better version technically and smart.
But the reason for it is mind-blowing.
Exactly. It made everything change in my brain later. Like, I had to go through everything. I'm just like, how didn't I get, I should have. And Jordan Peele's like, I didn't try to hide it. There was no twist. Nothing. It's just this thing. But we're going to talk about it tomorrow. I got to get out of here.
We will be back for sure.
People, I'm going to be coming back to you tomorrow. Different bat time. Same bat channel. I love you. And the next voice you're going to hear is this awesome Daniel Ramirez. Danathan the Manathan.
At your service, ladies and gentlemen, but ready to split. I'm so glad that you said that we're going to talk about this one, dude, because we can't just gloss over this movie. We can't do it. We owe it to ourselves and these people to give them something. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'll see you guys in just a few hours, maybe. Who knows? Depends on when you listen to this. Maybe a couple of days. I don't know, but I'll see you soon. We're going to talk about this. Steve and I have a lot to say about us. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, be good to yourselves. Be good to the people around you. My name is Dan Ramirez. That's Steve Hudson. We're the Heroes of Noise. Peace.